And breathe, right? Whew. We don't make it easy on ourselves, do we? Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back tonight with a match reaction as United managed to steal all 3 points on the road against Viktoria Plzen in the Czech Republic. Thanks to some late heroics from Rasmus Hojlund and some late changes from Ruben Amorim. This was a night for the substitutes, but we don't make it easy on ourselves. Honestly, I wasn't even confident that we'd be able to see out all 3 points towards the end. I'm never confident when we have to defend the lead in the last few minutes, but we managed to make it work. I was listening to this, kind of watching it with one eye while I was in the middle of my class tonight. So it took every ounce of self-control in me to not just celebrate when Hojlund scored that winner while I was literally on camera in this class. You ever see that meme of the high school kid who's sitting next to like the pretty girl and he's like, his face is all red and he's trying to like hold it in? Like, that's what I felt like when that goal went in. But anyway, we are here to celebrate the match. We're here. Everybody's jumping in. Bandomac, good to see you, my friend. Rich with United TV, how are you, my guy? Good to see you. Yeah, I did catch your show this morning too as well, so good job. I'm glad you got the computer working out and everything. My computer had to update as well. I don't know if you have a Microsoft or anything, but I think they all do at the same time. And of course, Danny, my scout ride or die in here getting it done. Appreciate everybody stopping by. I want to know your thoughts on everything. I want to get your thoughts on the performance, on some of the players, the result, and everything. We're going to talk a little bit about what this means moving forward, but of course, the match reaction, we're going to talk about starting 11, some highlights from each half, and then I've got my thoughts. We're going to look at Amorim's thoughts, but I always want your thoughts. So get those in, starting with United TV says, I'm tired. Yeah, I might just get a jersey and put that on the back of it at this point, because it's pretty much how we all feel watching United. It is a bit of a cathartic kind of roller coaster, but it is late for you as well. So I don't know. You're in Wales, so are you 5 hours ahead of me or are you 6 hours? I don't know how time works because I'm American and I went to school in America. So it is what it is. Thoughts on the starting 11, because it was an interesting starting 11, right? Ahmad finally got a start in one of the 10s next to Rashford. We've all been kind of wanting Ahmad to see how he does there. And Ruben Amorim has some thoughts on that too. We'll go into that a little later. I wanted to see him there. Zirkzee started this one up front. I think that Zirkzee and Rashford, at least against Everton, showed that could be a good combination. We'll talk more about that tonight. Bruno pushed back into the pivot with Casemiro. Maybe thought was there. We know that Viktoria Plzen get back very quickly. They sit deep. They make themselves hard to break down. Maybe having more playmakers, more people who could do something on the ball on the pitch at the same time. Maybe that was the idea. I don't know, but you guys let me know. Collier on the bench. Obviously, he didn't end up getting in minutes, but that was really only going to happen if we were up by a few goals. Really, which obviously we weren't up by a few goals. Bandomax says, I missed it. I forgot it was early kickoff. Oh, what are you doing here, man? You should go watch it. But you can go after, but it's always fun to go watch it. Yeah, thankfully, if you get Paramount, it'll be on demand, I think, tomorrow or something. I think it's on TNT Sports for you guys, because I don't know where you're at, Bandomac. United TV, my antivirus tricked me into deleting cookies. Oh, no. That'll do it. Computers are the worst, man. I get so tired of Microsoft. They're always trying to update. And my laptop that I do all my notes and my thumbnails and stuff on, if it needs to update, the whole laptop just gets slow. I can't do anything until I update it. It's really annoying. England, 11 p.m. Well, big up to you for stopping by and saying, oh, you're from Wales. I knew Wales was in there. I couldn't remember if you were in Wales or just from it, but I knew you were from Wales. Danny B says, horrible till Rasmus and Ugarte came on. Yeah, we're going to talk about Hojlund because I've got receipts and I've got words for people who are doubting the Great Dane out here. So y'all can line up and take your medicine, because my guy is clinical AF, and I don't care who disagrees. Y'all can fight me, but we don't need Gyökeres. Victor who? I don't care. We are all straight. Bandomac, I heard first half isn't worth watching. Nothing happened. Yeah, first half was rough. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're just going through the starting 11 at the moment. Dana B throwing in the Just throwing the love for everybody in the chat, as always. That's why we got the mods, man. The mods make everybody feel welcome. We are on the road to 3K now, you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, too, if you don't want to miss any of the action. We're on the road to 3K. We did do that giveaway in last night's show. Kyle Lacey, if you're watching, get at me, United States of United at Gmail, and we'll get you your shirt, hopefully before Christmas. Rich, I live in Michigan, my guy. I'm about 20 minutes from Ann Arbor. I'm about 25 minutes from Detroit. So in Michigan, got some snow last night. It is crazy cold. I didn't even walk my dog today. It's like below 20 degrees all day, so we're not doing that at all. United TV says we probably need at least another striker in the squad. I wouldn't turn down a striker who's okay with being a rotation option. Whether that's an older one, preferably it'd be an older one. You know, someone like a Luke Dion, someone like a, I don't know, Mehdi Taremi kind of deal. A Sebastian Aller, someone in that vein, like a Plzen or something, somebody who come in and does a job. Because right now, Hojlund is doing a very good job. Xerxes clearly has some sort of role, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. But I want someone who's a little better in the air, if that makes sense. I want someone who is a powerful presence, who, when we are down, when we're chasing the goal and we want to start spamming ball, I want someone a little different. I like having a little different ideas on the pitch as well. Veghorst, don't get me started on Veghorst. I'm going to put it on my headstone, though, when I die, that I was at Old Trafford to witness a Wout Weghorst's goal when I was there for Real Betis in the Europa League a couple of years back. So I will take that to my grave. Yeah, it is. He God bless him, Veghorst. He put in McTominay effort with very little McTominay end product in terms of goals, but I did get to see a goal, so it is what it is. On the first half, get your guys' thoughts in. I thought we were very, very shaky in that first half watching it. We were slow, sloppy, too many. Like, our passing was just, not only was it slow and it was just sloppy, but it was just, the decision-making in the pass was not great. We're trying to walk the ball out of our own box, basically. We were trying to dribble it out of our own box, literally across the 18-yard line. We were getting ourselves into some trouble. We played way too many passes to teammates in our own half who were facing their own goal under pressure, and we were just giving away the ball left and right. It was really, really annoying to watch. And then when we did get the ball and we did finally manage to get it to find an open man, we were just too slow. And we said in the preview, they're going to make themselves come back, and that's what they did. They dropped back immediately into a 4-4-2, and they made themselves hard to break down because we seem to be the only team who's incapable of doing that. We seem to be the only team that we've played who can't drop back into defense when we lose the ball. Every team, even someone like Viktoria Plzen, they do it much better than we do. And it's a shame because we were trying to make runs. Rashford was making runs, and he was just not getting the ball. Malacia is clearly still rusty, wasn't able to maybe play those passes. He was too slow. We had very little vertical passes to start in that first half. We were moving side to side, wide to wide, and it just, nobody was finding the runs. Nobody was willing to even make that pass when they did see the run. And I don't know if that was just tired, if it was just lack of confidence. Some of the touches that we got, like Mount's touch in the second half, some of Hojlund's situations, some of those chances we took one too many touches, like Mount's for sure. Like, he didn't need to take an extra touch. He could have put that away first time. Is that a lack of confidence? You guys let me know what you think. And then in the first half, especially when we did get some of those chances, our strikers were isolated, and then they were swarmed and didn't really have any options. Not good enough. Even when we got the ball, Dallo, I thought, was pretty sloppy, especially as the game went on. He kept passing it right to their players, not able to make a pass. He's not good in one-on-one situations, whether it's with the ball or defending. And it just seems like he shrinks inside himself when he's in those situations. And all he wants to do is get rid of the ball, but he doesn't do it very well. All in all, that first half was not good. No one looked up for it. No one looked comfortable. I said in the preview, any team that shows up to play us, if they have energy, if they're physical, they'll stand a good chance of getting a result against this United side. And Viktoria Plzen, to their credit, pretty nearly did. They just looked better. And that seems to be the theme so far this season, is just we are second best almost every time we play. I think against Everton was probably one of the better performances I've seen. And that's, if Everton's our level, then fucking hell. Second half came out, and if you watch the teams coming out of the dressing rooms, I mean, look at the difference between the two teams. One team looked happy, one team looked confident, one team looked up for it, ready to go. The other did not. You can guess which is which, because I was watching the Viktoria Plzen players come out. They were high-fiving, they were hugging, they were pumping each other up, and we just came out just walking quiet, like we were literally on our way to the first day of school after the best summer ever. It was the worst. We did manage to look a little more creative, like Danny says, when we made some changes. Especially, we brought some energy, some creativity, some threat. Hojlund came on, looked really, really good. Mount was a little anonymous, and then kind of grew into it in the end with some good link-up play. And Ugarte, obviously, Anthony was getting involved, but he wasn't really doing much. But again, even with the second goal when that went in, I wasn't confident that we were going to see out that result. You guys let me know how you feel about us seeing our result. Then he says, everyone was average or horrible besides Ahmad, Hojlund, Maz. Yeah, Maz, he was starting to frustrate me. I like him in the center back role. I think he can do both roles very well. He just wasn't making good decisions either. I think he was holding on to the ball a little too much. He was dribbling it into very dangerous situations. We struggle to clear the ball when it's in our box. Nobody wants to just boot it. Everyone wants to try to control it, get their head up and see what. You don't have time to do that. You need to just boot it down the line and just regroup real quick. But we just seemed a little shaky, like we didn't know what to do. He says, get me VTech back from loan on January. So we're going to talk about Onana. He's not one of my three thoughts, but I have a whole slide for Onana because he's got some interesting issues going on. Vandomac says, at least with every Premier League or every game, Amorim knows more and more what players you can rely on. We're starting to see maybe a little bit of a core. I think today was a little bit about one eye on the weekend as well, and still getting some of the players who probably will start in the weekend some minutes tonight. I don't think Rashford's going to start on the weekend, though. But you guys let me know. I want to look at what Amorim had to say. So he said, I think we improved during the game. We controlled the game in the first half. I don't think that at all. We controlled the game in the first half. But he said we control, but without any great chances. He said there was a lack of speed, lack of movement, controlling the ball. You just said we control, but now you're saying we lacked control of the ball. I agree there was a lack of speed, a lack of movement, but he says the pitch was difficult to make a connection with the strikers and the frontal support. Now he's blaming the pitch. I get it. He's a manager. He's got to say shit, but I don't want our managers to dally into Jurgen Klopp territory where we're starting to blame shit like the mud or the grass or the wind or witches or any of that shit. 12:30 kickoffs, Paul Tierney. I don't want us to do that, but I'm not saying he is. I don't want that to be a slippery slope. He says it was difficult, but we controlled it, as Viktoria didn't have chances either. The second half, we gave the goal away, and then we react. We pushed the opponent into their half. We managed to score. He says the speed changed. I told the players we need more movement in front because they have to feel that we are a danger behind to use that space. That's exactly how you got to use Rasmus Hojlund. He said that changed a little bit, but the guys that came off the bench helped. Exactly. And just kind of up the tempo, basically, with the energy and the attributes of the players that came on. Definitely up the tempo. Definitely spread the game out a little bit more. That's what you need to do sometimes, and subs did make an impact, like he was asked. He said different characteristics put different things in a game that can help to win games. You never know what kind of player you need in a game. Today it was Rasmus, and Anthony also changed a little bit. Everybody tried their best. What is up with Anthony shooting, by the way? He had a couple shots, and he just turns himself into this 187 degree angle of just leaning all the way back. His shooting is shit, man. Danny B says, is Amorim turning into Eric Ten Hag slowly? I don't know. If he shows up, I need to get a graphic of his hairline and the color of his hair. We need to get a paint swatch that matches his hair, and we can compare the two after the season ends, and then we can compare it after another 6 months after that. And if he starts getting gray, if he starts getting more wrinkles in his face, then we'll know it's the United effect. Because my boy Ollie, Ollie. I feel for that bastard. I really do. The babyface assassin just lost that babyface real quick at United. Ten Hag too, even. He said Hojlund is getting better. He's improving. I think he's nearer the goal now. He knows better the movements that he has to do. He could score more this evening, but he's scoring. He's working. He's controlling the ball better. He's improving, and the other guys are also there to change the game, and they did. Hojlund is getting better and better because we're playing him the way that he needs to be played. Play him on the shoulders, let him run into space. he's also doing very well at finding his movement. Like, and I've said this many times about Hojlund since last year. He has really good movement in the box. Everybody didn't. Nope. A lot of people didn't agree. I'm not saying any of you guys did, but people did last season, especially because he wasn't getting goals. Well, he has movement, but last season we were infinitely worse at finding strikers. We have very selfish wingers. This season, we're doing it more. He's scored a couple goals now in the last 2 games that he scored these goals in. That his movement is what got him those goals, and he's doing really good right now in the Europa League. He's already got like 4 goals now in the Europa League. He was like top scorer in the group stage of the Champions League last season too. Like, the guy is a freaking assassin. Bandomac says if he drops Ahmad and plays Rashford every game, we will know then. Yeah, I don't know if Rashford is long for this this club, to be honest with you. I think that he has shown today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Rashford today. He doesn't have a place in this system, and Ahmad has come on, and has done whatever he's been asked to play out wide, put in a shift up and down the pitch, corner to corner on the boxes, come inside play, and he's taking it all on, and he's a sponge, and he's learning, and he's adapting. Rashford just hasn't done it. It's a freaking annoying. Rich says, VTech, Danny B, tell me more. Yeah, Rich, we did a little bit of a scouting report on VTech last night in last night's video. Just he's one of our keepers, 21-year-old, on loan right now at BW Linz. But he is very good. So watch the first half of like last night's video if you want to learn a little bit more about VTech as well. But there are a lot of people that think he should maybe come in and I think he should come back at the end of his loan. I think he should play all the preseason games and give Amorim something to think about, because Onana wasn't an Amorim signing. So Bandomac says, I think I heard Hojlund has 9 goals in 10 games in Europe for United. Yeah, he's a monster. Anyone who doesn't rate Hojlund, I can't talk to you anymore. I literally can't talk to you at that point. So Amorim was asked a little bit about passing and progress needed. He said, we are improving in some details. We control really well the transitions, and we are aggressive when we lose the ball. We need time to work on the possession. This team needs to spend a lot of time near the opponent's goal and not just in transition. We're trying to work on that, but it's good to win. We prepare the next game. It's really important for us. He says, we showed fight. We know that we need to win one game, and they fought to the end. That was important. I think we deserve the win. He says, we didn't play very well, but we fought and we managed not to give up. That was a key point for me. So he says it's really important we take these 2 games from our schedule. So he's talking about the playoff games. He says it's important that we don't have to play playoff games right now, because if you don't have to play playoff games, you get a little bit of a break, and that would be very welcome at this point in time. But you guys let me know what you think on what Amorim had to say. Danny B says, player of the season so far in Austria, Rich. Yeah, Rich. One little highlight I mentioned from VTech last night. According to FootMob, he's the highest rated player in that league. Now, I didn't say highest rated goalkeeper. He's the highest rated player in that league right now, the whole league on FootMob. So that should tell you something. So want to move on right now. Before I dive into my 3 points, I want to talk about one important point. It wasn't important enough because I'm not freaking out, but it is worth spending a little time on. Onana, oh no. All right. So Viktoria Plzen, they win a free kick. And I really do like that Onana came out for. I like it. It's what I've been saying. Come off your line, control that box. But if you're going to do that, you have to win the ball. I don't care who you take out on. You have to win the ball. Now, he didn't. He didn't win the ball. A free kick in that area, granted, it wasn't a corner or anything. It's a little different. A free kick in that area, that deep, where the ball was getting dropped closer to the edge of the box and closer to the goal, was probably not the best time for him to start doing that. Because he also caught Casemiro with a fucking flying knee to the freaking chest. I thought Casemiro was injured. He kept shaking his head, and I was like, oh, shit. Onana just, like, cracked his sternum or something with that knee. So a little freaking out there a little bit. And then, oh my God, he does it again. He does the exact same thing again. He comes out again, tries to claim a ball, and he doesn't even really jump. And this is my thing. So, clearly he's been told, since we've been conceding more from set pieces, you need to come off your line more. Clearly he's been told that. The problem is, when it's not your natural thing, you're going to look just like Onana did tonight doing it. And maybe that's just what we needed to see. I refer back to my criticism of him last year The guy is not coordinated. He's very stiff. He doesn't look confident in those situations. He's so bulky, it's hard for him to do that. And you saw in the second situation tonight, he didn't even jump. He just he looked like a person who'd never jumped before trying to jump. So maybe I retract my statement that he needs to come off his line, not because I don't want him to, because I just don't think he's good enough at it. And tonight was another fucking example, because that was embarrassing. Like, as a goalkeeper, I would be embarrassed if I were Onana. Goals for George. Welcome back, my friend. Says Rasmus could have scored a hat trick today, but sometimes his decision making lets him down. Can't believe 3-2 and 3-1 we can't punish an opponent. Yeah. I have a little thing. Yeah. So it's clear that he wanted the goal, but maybe he trusted his left foot a little bit more, because he did take that touch that took him wide onto his left foot when really he didn't need to do that. And he'll be told that. He'll look at the footage and they'll say, what are you doing here? He's got a right foot. He's scored with his right foot. He just needs to back himself a little bit more. Maybe he was getting into his own head, wanting the hat trick more than the goal, if that makes sense. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I'm not psychic. Bandomax says, at least under Amorim, we can come back. In the past, the heads would drop. I mean, I wouldn't say we can. I say we did. But I'm never confident in this team, not since Ollie was here. And it was just like you almost had to give the other team a goal under Ollie just so we would show up and do something right. But no, I get what you're saying. It's another item, though, to add to the cons list for Onana. I think that he's not going to ever be a keeper that can come off his line. And he's the basics of goalkeeping are starting not to be put in his pros list, if that makes sense. He's lost his distribution. His shot stopping has improved, but it's not improved to the terms of he was here and now he's here. It's improved from the point where he was here and now it's like here. And the game against Forest was not a good look for him. And then clearly he just can't come off his line. He's too slow on the ball. He got caught tonight. Thankfully it got us a goal kick again, but he takes way too long on the ball when we're trying to build up. And tonight was an example of why I don't like that. He got fouled against, I think it was Arsenal Forest, doing the same exact thing. He's going to push his luck. It's going to cost us a goal, and it could be a crucial goal. And he needs to cut that shit out, because it's really starting to get on my nerves. And what the fuck is he doing playing that ball that led to their goal to begin with? Like, what are you doing now? I don't know what the Lit's doing. I don't know but like, it's like when you go to play a pass and then you get mad at your teammate for not being there. Well, cool, they weren't there, but why did you still pass it there if they're not there? That's the kind of shit that annoys me. I don't know what this is all mental for Onana. If you watch, as soon as that goal went in, as soon as he played that shit pass and they scored, the camera zooms in and he is all up inside his own head. And this reminds me exactly, like, it rolled back the clock to last year Champions League. Onana doesn't have a very good capability of letting it go, of moving on when he makes those kind of mistakes. In the Champions League, he did it. I remember one game, I forget where it was. He made a mistake. We conceded a goal, and he's just lying on the ground, and Sergio Reguilon comes and picks him up. And Onana has to be able to start moving on from those things, because it's getting in his own head. I could sit here and speculate that the Nottingham Forest game was still rattling around in the back of his mind, and that's why he was maybe overthinking. Maybe he was a little nervous. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. He just can't shake it off when he makes a mistake, and it's going to cause problems for him as a keeper, for us as a club, for Amorim as a manager. It's going to cause problems. So he's got to get past that. He's got to be able just to shake it off and move on. And his teammates really need to help him with that. They need to just be like, dude, it's fine. Let's go. Come on. We're going to get it back. Come on. So you guys let me know what you thought about Onana's performance. I don't want to dig him out too much, but I have to talk about some of this shit tonight, because it's 2 matches in a row now where he's just not looked super confident in himself. Goals for George says, once Onana won player of the match for November, player of the month, sorry, he said, hold my beer, guess who's back? I mean, this is the thing. I don't want to take form and call it like quality, because form is temporary. I want to see if this is going to be a turnaround or not. But we'll see. It's up to Onana at this point, right? Bandamek says, I think the Lit was supposed to come towards the ball and Onana was waiting, but he shouldn't have made the pass. Yeah, exactly. Whether or not what the Lit was supposed to do or where he was supposed to be is irrelevant. You're still playing the ball. You can't, you're playing the ball to nobody because somebody was supposed to be there. It doesn't matter to me. Just boot it. And it happened because of it was just one instance of several instances where Onana is just taking way too long on the ball and just inviting that pressure. And he shouldn't be doing that because this is what's causing Danny with the refrain, sell him ASAP, bring me Vitek. Vitek is a handsome bastard too. If you guys ever, Vitek is 6.5 foot handsome. Like he'll sell some shirts if you get my drift. So let's move on to my three thoughts, starting with number one. That is jet lagged. I don't know what it is with Manchester United and away matches, but we are shit when we have to travel to play games. Whether it's right down the road or 1,500 kilometers like we did today, we just seem to struggle on the road. Aside from the Southampton match a few months ago where we won 3-0, we have dropped points in all of our away matches this season. That's just the facts. I looked it up. Basically, today was no different. We looked like a team that had traveled 1,500 kilometers. We looked tired. We looked jet lagged. We looked just super tired. It looked like like when you go on a family vacation and you're asleep in the back seat the whole time and you get up and you're like, what? Groggy? That's how I feel if I ever take naps. I hate taking naps because I hate that feeling of waking up and feeling like you're on some sort of anesthetic, like anesthesia. You're kind of groggy. I don't like that feeling. I'm not complaining about the distance. I'm not blaming the distance traveled. I'm just saying we look leggy in general when we have to travel to play. Last year was more the same. We started off decent beginning of last year, but then around mid-season, around February, it just started this trend where away matches, we struggled. We dropped points. Today, again, like I said, we looked tired. We looked slow. We lacked focus. Not on the same page. They're very weak in possession, very vulnerable, and I don't like what I see. It's not great. Yes, Bandomax says first away win in Europe in 20 months, I think. Yeah, we just, whether it's Premier League, whether it's Cups, we struggled in the FA Cup in the semifinal when we were at Wembley playing Coventry. We nearly dropped points there. Yeah, we struggle, man. It's not great. It's not a good look. We need to figure out how to keep these players motivated, how to keep these players energized. We got a sports scientist. Amorim brought one with him. We need to do something to get these players' energy levels up. Maybe they got to wear a heart rate monitor or something during the trip. If they each have ideal heart rates and things, we need to try to keep that up, get them focused. Maybe we need to plan the trips a little earlier, give them a day, like maybe leave a couple days earlier and let them do all their training and stuff at the away ground. I don't know, depending on how far it is, but whatever we've been doing is not working because these players they look like a bunch of little kids who were just on a long road trip. It's really annoying. So Goals for George says, I actually think De Ligt is not as good as Maguire in center, as he does not carry the ball or seem dominant. He may need to take a spot as right center back or left center back. Licha is too negative in playing backward. Licha looks a little hesitant these days for sure. I'm never going to say De Ligt is not as good as Maguire. I think that De Ligt is one of the better defenders that Europe's seen in a long time. I think he is dominant. I think he's had some injury problems. I think that he probably, like some of those other Ajax players, he probably moved from Ajax a little too early. But De Ligt is one of the first names on the team sheet for me, unless he's just takes a nosedive. But I don't need all my center backs to have all the same traits. I don't need them to be 9s out of 10s and everything. It'd be great, but different roles. I think that what De Ligt needs is to be more of a leader in that back line than anything. I think he needs to organize. He needs to be vocal. He needs to take initiative, responsibility. That's what we need him for, because Licha's not going to do that. Licha has been vocal, but Licha has a role in that back three. Yoro is young. Mazraoui can probably be a little bit more of a leader too, but on the right-hand side, Mazraoui is going to be moving the ball a little bit more. It just depends. I think the issue with De Ligt is more of the way we build out from the back. We split. He moves up a little bit, and Onana steps up to make like a diamond in the back, like a wide diamond. And maybe that's not something De Ligt is used to, and that's fine. But Maguire's not going to be used to that either, because Maguire is not very fast moving the ball either. We've seen Maguire get caught in possession many, many times. And so it would be nice to find a center back who can do that, but I'm not saying that needs to be at the sacrifice of De Ligt. But everyone's got their own opinion, man. It's not a big deal. But I do hear you. moving on to the next one here. Can Xerxes play a part? Does Xerxes have a part to play in this squad? Now, you guys know I've been very, very critical of Xerxes, not overall as a player, but just from what I've seen. And what I've seen has not been enough. The Everton match was very good. And tonight, I actually thought he did very, very well. He looked better than he has looked in recent matches, aside from the Everton match where he looked very good. He had really good hold-up play, really good link-up play. He's dropping into the half spaces really well to kind of make himself an option and help his teammates kind of get out of trouble. He's dropping and moving in those channels really well to receive the ball. And again, he was kind of a conduit for everything that was going on, which I really liked. He had a great example. We had a counterattack in the 21st minute that came through him. He was in his own half, facing his own goal. Ball came through him, holds it up, finds Rashford. It was unfortunate that Rashford ruined that opportunity with a shit shot. But really our best chances in the first half were from counterattacks, and they were coming through Xerxes and his one-touch play. That's probably going to be his role if we get runners around him who can actually do something. He waned a little bit in the second half, but I do think that was more down to the Viktoria Plzen players realizing how much of a threat he was being. And if you saw in the second half, whenever he was on the ball, there were 3 players on him, swarming him, pushing, pulling him to the ground, fouling him, whatever they needed to do, just basically just swarming him to the point where the ball was going to squirt out to find a teammate, or they were going to win the ball back. And I think they recognized that was the threat. He wasn't able to get involved in those link-ups anymore because he just didn't have the time and the space at that point. Plus, there wasn't a whole lot of movement from his teammates around him. He was pretty isolated. Nobody was kind of showing for the ball like he was doing. Nobody was making runs off. He didn't really have a whole lot of options in the second half once he had the ball because there was just too static going on. Bruno typically just standing there watching him a lot. Like, it was kind of getting on my nerves to watch. But Goals for George says, what has happened to Dallo? Terrible on the left, horrible on the right. Oh, Danny's going to jump in. Malacia looks done and may need to go on loan because I don't think United can carry him and wait for him. Yeah, I never thought Malacia looked. God love him. He fights and he does. You have to actually have some quality though. That's the problem. I've said before. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. We need to scrap Shaw. We need to scrap Malacia. We probably need to scrap Dallo. We need to get best we can find in that left-sided position. And that just needs to be it. We've got Amos coming through. We've got this new left back, Diego Leon, that we brought in coming through in the future. We need to just do that. But you guys let me know what you think about Xerxes. Can he play a part in this squad? If he can maintain some of the stuff like what we saw today, if he can improve on that even more so, because he's not old. He's still, 23? I think he could have a part to play. Now, whether or not he wants to be kind of pigeonholed into that, it's completely up to him. But even in like the final third, he had another good opportunity where he used his strength, he used his good dribbling to get into the box and win a corner, I think it was, because he just didn't give up. And like I said, he's good on the ball. He is good. It's like he doesnnt realize it sometimes. It's like he gets in his own head. I knew Danny was going to pop up. Called it. Dallo has definitely just fallen from grace. I don't know what happened to him. Like I said, it's not like Dallo was world class ever, but the drop off even from last season, even just mentally, just the passion that we saw, the energy is just complete. Maybe we play him too much and maybe he's exhausted. We don't really have a choice. Shaw can't stay fit. Malacia is just coming back. And Anthony was injured for a little while, so maybe he can get a little bit of time to breathe. Dallo, to me, and it's hard. I think if we can get qualified and then we have some time off, Dallo needs. I would honestly send Dallo off for a couple weeks and just let him chill on vacation someplace and just be like, you know what, man, we played you every week. It's been a struggle. I know you're exhausted. I appreciate what you're doing. Go and take a vacation, relax, and come back fresh. Get your head in it, and we'll start again. That's what I would do right now because I don't think we're gonna be able to sell him in January. And if we sold him in January, I would want a lot of money for Dallo because we need to start taking advantage of other teams like they've been taking advantage for us. So I'm not, you guys can say, take 25 and run. I'm like, you know what? No, we're not going to be that team anymore that gets clowned in the transfer window. We need to stick to our guns on some of this shit. Danny B says, Xerxes, give him another 12 months. Yeah, Xerxes, I mean, yeah, he's only been here since the summer. He was a late signing. We'll see. I'm not saying he's the answer yet, but I'm not saying he needs to go at any point in time quite yet. I'm saying if he doesn't improve, he needs to go. But if he does more of what we saw tonight, and if he gets more movement, and even Amorim said there wasn't a whole lot of movement. If we get more movement around him, more options around him, and he keeps playing like he played tonight, like he played against Everton, he could have a role in this side. I could see him playing with Rasmus and stuff instead of Rashford. United TV says Xerxes has to improve to be part of the squad. I think hopefully he will improve, right? Hopefully he'll kick on. Hopefully this is something, a foundation to build on. But again, it's all up to him. I don't think he's helped by the players around him, especially tonight, but we'll see. We will see. Goals for George says stats showed Xerxes lost the ball 11 times in 30 minutes in the first half. People were joking he was playing for the opponents. I didn't think he was bad in the first half. Losing the ball to me isn't always the sign that you got to look at what's going on, because the stats will lie to you. Like this, there was many seasons where Messi lost the ball more than any other player in Europe. Would you ever say from that stat alone that Messi is a horrible player, that he's playing for the opponents? Probably not, right? And you got to watch the match. Again, the counterattacks were going through Xerxes. If there's no one around him, if he's getting swarmed on the ball, there's not really much he can do. I'm not saying that I want to build the team around Xerxes. I'm saying he actually had a pretty decent first half, in my opinion. Dana B says he's the same as this next time yesterday. If he's the same as this next time next year and he's not improving, then yeah, we need to move on. He was a Ten Hag signing. He wasn't an Amorim signing. Amorim has no obligation to him. All Amorim can do is try to get the best out of him. And I think that he's found a role for him in this system, in that position. It's just now it's up to Xerxes to maintain, right? Danny says, if we could swap Xerxes 40 million for Osimhen or Gyökeres, get rid in the summer. I mean, there a part of me that still is like, listen, go get Jonathan David, try to do a deal in January, let him have Xerxes and some cash, and get Jonathan David in now. The guy's numbers are incredible over the last several years. He's a good player. He's available for free. He's a good age. I mean, he'd be cheaper than Gyökeres for sure. But I don't really think I need Gyökeres. I mean, we've got Hojlund. He's doing it. Did we keep the receipt? Nice. Ashworth took off with it. Yeah, he put it in his accounting book with the M&S receipts from all the staff gifts. I went to an M&S when I was there downtown, got some breakfast, found a nice jacket. So I bought myself a jacket when I was there. So either Ashworth or Eric Ten Hag has it. I wish there was some. If you let me know in the comments, over the last couple of years, who were some players you wish we would have kept the receipt for? If receipts were a thing in the transfer market, who would you have returned within the 2-week time period? Sports Predictions, welcome back, bud. How are you doing? Good to see you again. Dana B says, "Be smart business, David, in January." And this is the kind of business. That's the kind of business I'm talking about. That serious clubs do. Clubs that are serious about challenging, that are serious about sustaining, they're serious about backing their managers, will go and get these deals done. Arsenal grabbed Aubameyang in January. Liverpool got Gakpo and Luis Diaz in January. Like, the January deals are difficult, but if you're serious and you're ambitious, you'll weigh the risks and the rewards, and you'll do it. Like, it's not hard to do. Everybody's showing up. Yes, sports. We're just asking right now, if receipts were a thing in the transfers, and you had like a 2-week return period, what are some of the transfers that we've done that you would have returned? Danny B says Anthony. Yeah, I think a lot of people say Anthony. Anthony, man, I really wish he would have. He was so good at Ajax. If you guys didn't watch Ajax, I mean, he was incredible. So moving on to number 3, you guys let me know, though, do you think Xerxes could play a role or not, based on tonight, based on Everton? Yeah, tonight was definitely better than his last match he played. You let me know. Number 3, Hojlund heroics. I got nothing but time and availability for anyone who wants to sit here and attack my boy Rasmus, because I will defend him to my dying breath. I will wave the Rasmus flag. I will die on the hill. You guys, anyone who has a bad thing to say about Rasmus can come and fight me, because I will not hear it. I will not have any Rasmus Hojlund slander on this channel anytime soon. All you doubters can sit down. Easy, Anthony said. Sports Predictions. Says McGuire. Maguire is a tough one because in certain his first season was actually really good, Maguire, because we played football that he plays, and he probably would have been really good under Jose. Sit deep, win those aerials, find the runners wide positions on the counter. That's exactly how Maguire should be playing. If he went to like West Ham or something, he would probably be doing very well because that's how they roll in West Ham. Fortunately, we switched managers. He's not that good on the ball. He can't play out from the back. It is what it is. But Hojlund heroics. Bandomax says Anthony scored against Arsenal, so we would have kept him. To be fair to Anthony, he did score against Barca to basically put us through in the Europa League, and that's why I got to go to Real Betis because we progressed in that competition that year. Goals for George. Xerxes is big, but plays like he's ashamed of his size. Would prefer to be 5'8" instead of 6'5". He'll get there, hopefully, because he was very good at Bologna. He is good. He reminds me of classic, like, vintage Ibrahimovic or, like, Benzema. They're big guys, but they're actually very, very good on the ball in close quarters with their dribble. He just hasn't showed it yet, and whether that was a mental thing or what, but we'll see. He says McGuire's second place. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head that I would return right away. It's easy to look in hindsight, but I'm trying to think of like how soon did some of these transfers show us that there was something off. I'm trying to think. Maybe Alexis Sanchez, um, maybe Veghorst, but that was a loan. Doesn't really count, does it? I'm struggling to think. I'll have to get back to you. I just can't think of one off the top of my head. But you guys keep it up. Bandomex says, little did we know how bad he would become. I mean, again, I don't think, if you're talking about Maguire, I don't think Maguire is bad. I said that many times. I just don't think the system that we played under Amorim and the system we play under Ten Hag works for him. I think he's better with counterattacking systems. And he can have a role. I mean, he came on and got the equalizer for us against Porto. That was a big point for us at the time. So, goals for George. Anthony needs to get more chances under Amorim. I'm not writing him off yet. I gave Anthony 2 years, and he's yet to show me. And tonight he had a couple of good chances, and all you had to do is put the shot on target. All you had to do is not lean back like you're taught to when you're like 1 year old, and he freaking couldn't even do that. The guy focuses so hard on putting that ball on a postage stamp in top bins on the upper left corner. And when you're trying to do that, when you're trying to place the ball like that carefully with the instep, your natural instinct is to lean back a little bit, but you have to fight that instinct for the sake of technique. And Anthony just doesn't do that. If you can't tell, I used to play, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I used to take the free kicks when I was younger. Modeled my game on Bex. I'm old now, so I'm limited to like co-ed indoor leagues now, but I'll take what I can get. When you're 39 years old, I'll kick a ball around. But Sports Fiction says, we were unbelievably shat today. Yeah, we were. You missed the chat about the first half and stuff. Bando Max says, oh, Di Maria. Di Maria was probably one of the signings that I've been the most excited about in recent years when it happened, because he was arguably one of Madrid's best players when we signed him. Problem with Di Maria is he just didn't want to be here, and he made it pretty clear. And the problem with Di Maria is he had to play under Louis van Gaal. Unfortunately, not the best manager when you're a creative flair player like Di Maria is. Didn't help himself with some of his antics, Di Maria, especially at PSG. I'll always love Ashley Young for just mullering the shit out of Di Maria and knocking him into those bleachers, though. I will take that any day, inject that into my veins. Bastard wants to freaking give it the big one to the fans. Goals for George. Mount should be returned because he will never be fit or score. He shoots if he's ever struck a ball. Yeah, Mount might be my vote now that you remind me of Mason Mount. But on Hojlund, though, 2 very good goals and very clinical goals at that. The first goal he got was due to him being exactly where you want him to be as a striker in that situation. Watching the play, kind of getting a feel, movement, and timing your run right. It's very easy to get hurried, to get excited, and run past the play, if that makes sense. You have to be slow coming in. It's not, if you want to get on the end of a header, you don't run. You wait until the ball's in the air and then you run onto it. It's harder to get any sort of force or anything when you're having to jump straight up or jump back. And Hojlund timed his run well. He did what he needed to do. It was a really good run from Ahmad too to create that goal. He beat his defenders, created the space. The second goal was from a very, very clever free kick. He had nothing but space on his left. What Viktoria Plzen were doing, showing him that much space on his strong side, is beyond me. But one touch to control it, and then the shot. That's what you need as a striker. One touch to control it, and then you shoot. That's all you need, and that's all you're going to get in those situations. And that's why his conversion rate is what it is. He nearly had another after reading that situation, picked up on a bad back pass, grabbed the hold of it, got himself in a one-on-one. He chose the wrong option by taking it wide to try to get onto his left foot, what we discussed earlier. But what he did tonight, again, 2 goals, 2 very clinical striker goals, 4 shots, 3 shots on target, 2 goals, 1 out of 1 tackle, created a big chance. The kid just has it. And I told you, we need to play him more, but we need to find him more. And we are starting to do that. Tonight makes him now the 3rd Manchester United player to score 9 goals in Europe before they turn 22. Like, guys, be patient with Rasmus. He's still young. He's only been here a little bit. Just let him do his thing. He's got the most goal involvements of anyone in the team under Ruben Amorim now. He's got like 5 goals or 4 goals and 1 assist or something. I don't remember off the top of my head now. And again, it boggles my mind there are people who don't rate him. He was our top scorer last season. His first season at the club, by the way, and he wasn't even supposed to be our main striker. His conversion rate since joining the United has been among the best in the league. Hopefully this match gives him confidence. Hopefully it's more momentum ahead of the derby this weekend, because it is going to be a big match. And then hopefully we go. Sports prediction says, bro, no fucking way you're 39. You look 15. I do get that a lot. A lot of people. I got carded like 3 or 4 years ago at the grocery store when I was buying alcohol. And I told the guy how old I was, and he called me a liar. He straight up called me a liar to my face. Like, he was shocked. I'm not trying to flex. I'm just saying I hear it a lot. I got that Leonardo DiCaprio disease where you just always look like you're 30, I guess. Rich says, big up, guys. I'm going to call tonight. Big up, Rich, man. Thanks for stopping by. I know it's late. Appreciate the love, my guy. As always, guys, go check out United TV when you get a chance. Rich does some good content. Danny B says, Onana, Malacia, Shaw, Dallo, Rashford, Lindelof, Casemiro, Eriksson, Mount, Maguire, Anthony, gone ASAP. Danny, I feel like you just keep that like copy pasted, because every time you're throwing out the list. I wish it was that easy to get rid of that many players at once. It's going to take time. Everybody show some love to Rich. Sports predictions doesn't buy the Onana thing. I think Danny's got one eye on Radek Vitek more so than maybe Onana. I don't think Onana is going to be one of those keepers that's going to be here for 10 years. I just don't see that happening like David De Gea was or anything. I think he's going to be here maybe another year tops, because he's already like 28. And that's not old for a keeper, but I think that it's just going to – I just don't think it's going to work out under the system. I think he's a little too slow on the ball. He doesn't offer enough in other areas of goalkeeping for me. He hasn't been horrible. I don't think he's going to be here for the long term, if that makes sense. Goals for George says, Falcao shocked me. I loved him as a striker, but at United, he looked lost. I felt better when I saw he was worse at Chelsea. Yeah, Falcao, had it been like a year earlier than we got Falcao, I would have been more excited. I think the injury that he got before he joined us kind of made me a little hesitant, but thankfully it was just a loan. It wasn't a big deal. Danny B says, tonight was the last straw with Onana. Nearly took Casemiro out for the rest of the season. Yeah, he did go flying knee on Casemiro like he was freaking UFC, man. That was messed up. Sports predictions. I don't know if you just got the caps lock on or you're just really excited. Do you want me to read it in an excited voice? Rasmus is very hungry and wants to prove himself, but his teammates just can't find him. I saw him making some great movements in the box today. He's making good movements. Sometimes the movements are going to get picked up on. Sometimes the movements are for him to try to score. Sometimes the movement is to create space by pulling defenders and pulling the attention away and creating space for other people and time for other people. And that's something else that really good strikers do. It's not always, its movement always has a purpose. Sometimes the purpose is not to be the one to score the goal. And Rasmus already has good instincts. He already has that hunger. He's already got good technique. His decision-making will get better. It's really nice that for someone so young that one of the only things he really has to work on is the decision-making in some moments, which is really the one thing any young player has to work on. He's already got it in so many other areas. And so he'll get there. I really, really love this kid. Rasmus is UEFA Cup's bully. We need to see him score consistently in the Premiership. 20-25 goals should be minimum. I think you're asking a lot for a 21-year-old striker. I think we can't judge Rasmus by the same standard that we're going to judge guys like Salah, Harry Kane, Erling Haaland even. I mean, you can't compare people to Erling Haaland. I think Hojlund wasn't meant to be the number one at Atalanta. He only did that because of injuries. He wasn't meant to be our number one striker either. We just didn't get a second striker because we couldn't afford it. We got to be patient. We can't judge. You wouldn't judge Kobbie Mainoo the same way you would judge like Kevin De Bruyne, right? Like we can't. It's not fair. It's unfortunate that Hojlund is our only striker, really, but I don't think we should put the 20-25 goal. If you're talking about in the 20-25 goals in the league, that is a lot. Like how many strikers do that on a regular basis that aren't named like Harry Kane or Mo Salah or Erling Haaland? Like that rarely happens. Sports Prediction says Martinez was a little scared like the rest of his teammates to find Rasmus. No bravery in our passing today and like for the last few seasons. I don't know if they're not confident in their ability to make the pass, which I can't believe because Martinez was making those passes just a few matches ago. He was finding them left and right. Or maybe it was just on the night. Maybe he didn't trust the whole squad's energy levels and physicality to, if they didn't get the ball, if Plzen got the ball and got another counter, if he didn't trust himself or his teammates to handle another counterattack. And he was too scared of losing the ball to not make the pass, if that makes sense. I don't know. You can go ask. I really couldn't tell you. Danny B says 15 to 20 goals in all comps is decent return if he gets that. And considering the fact that Rasmus was injured too to start the season a little bit. And that's the thing too. People like to put out the stats like, oh, Hojlund's got this many. Saka's like, well, Hojlund also was injured a little bit. So, and Saka's been in the league for like 5 years now. Let's calm down a little bit. But that's Hojlund. He's the hero again tonight. He comes on, does his job just well. Some of our other players, what did they do tonight? Let's look at Bruno's numbers. 111 touches. That's insane. 7 chances created by Bruno, the most in the match. 4 out of 5 crosses, 2 big chances, 1 assist. So good game as far as getting involved in the chance creation and whatnot and getting involved on the ball. His passing was a little off, though. Only 2 out of 6 long balls. And his long balls, the last time I think it was against Arsenal when he played in that deep role, weren't that great either. I don't think he used to have some power in that long pass, and he seems to have lost a little bit of that. Maybe he's tired. Only 75% pass completion on the night. I don't like Bruno in that deep spot in the pivot. I don't mind him playing in like an 8 if we played like a 4-3-3. I just as the one of two in a pivot, he's too weak. He doesn't have that strength to really get around the pitch and something happen. He gets caught in the ball too much. He plays for the foul when he loses it. He's just not going to get it. He's a little too weak. He's not that physical. I don't like him in that position personally. I know I started him there, but it started in there because I knew that this team was going to set up and be hard to break, and I needed some creativity. But I also didn't want him to be one of them in there. Sports Weekend says, yes, bro, Martinez was too scared today. He might have been. It's just a matter of why. Is it he didn't trust the pass? Did he not trust the counterattack if we lost the ball? Danny says 100, Licha was hesitant, too slow, afraid to make the risky pass, which is so weird to me because he was doing it the other day. I forget what match it was. It was either against Arsenal or Everton or whatever, but it wasn't against Arsenal. He was suspended against Arsenal. But he was doing it. So I don't know what it was. Maybe because Malacia was starting, maybe because it was Rashford. Sometimes it's not about the player like Licha who's on the ball. Sometimes it's about the players that he's playing with. I don't know. You guys, we could speculate. I really don't know. What did you guys make of Ahmad in the 10 tonight? Amorim said, I think in the first half, Ahmad was coming for the ball too much. He needs to play near the goal, near the back line. Maybe he was a little too used to playing in that wide position since Amorim came in, and he takes him a couple matches to kind of get used to a different role. I thought he did well to make that chance for Hojlund, but I thought overall Ahmad had a bit of a quiet game. And I think that he had an opportunity later on where could have gotten something away to Hojlund. He could have found Hojlund, but I think Ahmad wanted a goal and he was holding onto the ball too long and he lost it. So I thought that pass kind of fizzled out. Only 1 out of 5 dribbles completed, no accurate crosses for Ahmad, but he did complete 3 out of 3 long balls and he did end the match with the best pass completion with 93%. So a mixed bag. I just thought it was a quiet game for Ahmad personally. And clearly he's another player who can't take corners either. Can we find one fucking player who can beat the first man on a corner? For fuck's sake. When we switched, so Ahmad had a couple of crappy corners, and then we switched to Mason Mount, and Mount actually put in a couple. So if Mount's fit, for me, Mount takes the corners because no one else can pick a fucking corner to save their life. Goals for George says, maybe our standards for strikers has dropped. Did you watch Kluivert when he was 17, 18, 19 years at Ajax, shocking the world? And being described as world-class, now we make excuses for young strikers. Saying a young player needs time, to me, is not making an excuse. It's just the reality of a situation. Again, is it making an excuse for Manu by not comparing him by not expecting him to play like Kobbie Manu? Is it making excuses for Garnacho by not expecting him to play like Mo Salah? Like, it's not making excuses. It's just the reality of the situation. And again, like I said earlier, there are some players who at young ages are just good, that they're just on a different level. Like comparing someone like Rasmus Hojlund to Patrick Kluivert, like it's like me comparing Garnacho and asking him, like, why can't you do what Mo Salah's doing? Why can't you do what Ronaldo was doing when he was younger? Like, I just think we got to have a little bit of reality to that, a little bit of objectivity in terms of just let's look at it for what it really is. Not every player is that good. Some players are just naturally better. Some players take a little time. Some players are late bloomers. It is what it is. Jamie, when Harry Kane was Rasmus Hojlund's age, he was on loan at like Leicester. And he wasn't doing anything. But would I say that Rasmus Hojlund is better than Harry Kane because he's doing better at this age than Harry Kane was? Probably not. See what I'm talking about? It works both ways. So, and like Danny V says, yeah, look who Kluivert had playing beside him back then. Again, it's not just the player, it's the team. Ajax back in those days was dominant. That was the height of like Dutch football dominance there. And so I think it's hard to compare. It really is. I hear what you're saying. One of the articles I did when I was with Stretty News was on Hojlund and some of the comparisons he was getting, and was he overpriced and things. And one of the things I did in the article was look at other attackers, some of the top attackers over the last few decades, and compare what they were doing at Rasmus Hojlund's age when we signed him to what he is doing. And again, like the Harry Kane thing, they weren't doing nearly as much as Rasmus Hojlund was doing. So it is what it is. Vandomek says, yeah, but Van Persie hit his peak around 27. Everyone's different. Yeah, and like that's what I said. Every player is different. It is what it is. Look at Gyökeres. What was Gyökeres doing when he was Rasmus Hojlund's age? Was he at Brighton at that point, and he was on like loan and Brighton? Like, again, it's hard. It's hard to compare him. Again, it's different systems. Sometimes it's just finding the right fit. I think Rasmus is the right fit for this system. I think he's got the right manager now. I think he's basically the same player as Viktor Gyökeres. Now we just got to develop him. It is what it is. Hold on. Sports Fiction says, look, I thought Ahmad was ass today, to be honest. Didn't make some passes today. His first assist was off the defender because Ahmad was shooting on the goal. Like I said, Ahmad didn't have his best match today. He was quiet, and maybe it was just the transition to a different role after he's been used to another role again. It is, who knows? He had Casemiro behind him who kept just playing these random passes that weren't really finding anybody. Dallo on the right-hand side, and if we're going to criticize Dallo, we have to also look at the fact that Ahmad had to play next to Dallo. So he's relying on Dallo to move the ball, and Dallo's not really good at that. Sports Vision says, Danny B, I don't want to sound like Onana fanboy because I'm not a fan of anyone of these players in our current squad, but Onana has been good this season. I would say that Onana, compared to last season, Onana has been better. Now, whether or not better is good, is not the same thing. The last two matches, he's made some howlers. He's not had a good matches. Onana's biggest issue, and I said at the start when we were talking about him, is he needs to get out of his own head when he makes a mistake and just move on. You can see it against Forest. You saw it last year in the Champions League. You saw it tonight when he made that bullshit pass that led to their goal. He has to shake it off and just move on past it because he's getting in his own head and it's affecting everything. He's starting to second guess himself. He can't move on. And the players around him need to help him out with that too. But Danny B said he's done his job this season, sports predictions, but did he feel secure enough? Danny's true Irishman sounding like Roy Keane. There was a sweater, a Christmas sweater that I wanted to get that featured Roy Keane, and I might end up buying it, but they're expensive because they all come from the UK, and you all charge like $25 a ship. He says he did feel secure enough. Were you confident about him week out? I'm not confident on Onana on set pieces, and I'm not confident when he's holding onto the ball too much when we're building out because other teams are not going to give him that time. Danny B says, I say he had his time, tried to give him benefit of the doubt, but he doesn't have it. I think if Onana were like 23, 24, I'd be willing to see if he can maybe start adapting a little bit. But the guy's like 28. He's not. He is what he is, basically. The same like we said about Rashford, the same we said about McTominay, the same we said about Maguire. He's not. You can't change certain aspects of his game. And I think that the things Onana is good at, he'll be fine at. The things that he's not good at, I don't know if he's going to get better at this point in his career. But you guys let me know. On to some other players. Rashford's not. So when you watch Rashford tonight, Rashford's like one of those enigmas. His numbers weren't necessarily bad. This is why we can't just trust numbers, whoever threw out the 11 misplaced passes or whatever. Because if you look at numbers, you didn't watch the match, but you look at numbers, you'd be like, oh, Rashford did all right. 2 out of 2 dribbles, 4 passes in the final third, 1 out of 1 long ball, 3 out of 5 duels, 3 touches in the box. You're like, oh, cool. Rashford had a decent game, I guess, maybe against a compact side, right? But can anyone recall watching the game, like a time that Rashford stood out in the match other than his frustrated yellow card late in the first half? He's looking less and less likely to have a spot in the system, Rashford. I might have even hooked him at halftime if I were Amorim, especially after that foul. It just looked like he was getting frustrated that he wasn't getting involved in the game. He only had like 30 touches, I think. Just wasn't getting involved. And it's not because it's just, he has no place in the system and he can't adjust his game to make that place. He just can't. He's not a 10. He can't play that wide wingback role. Striker is not going to be it because he doesn't have as much space as a striker, and he doesn't have a place against teams who are sitting deep now. It just is what it is. Sports Prediction says, Sean, I can't believe a guy like Casemiro, 5 times Champions League winner, making too many back passes and not being brave on the ball. I'm shook. Honestly, Casemiro was being brave, but he was being brave in a very stupid way. Casemiro has this weird addiction to these like first time, no look, random balls. Usually they're across midfield. Tonight he was trying to make playing vertical, but they weren't going anywhere. He needs to learn how to take a touch, get his head up, scan before he plays some of these passes because they kept going to the opposition. He did have a decent match defensively, though. He won 11 duels, which was the most in the match. So all 10 of his ground duels he won. He had a 90% pass completion, to answer your question. And he did create 1 chance. So he didn't have a bad match numbers-wise. He just needs to cut out those stupid fucking no-look, one-touch passes because they rarely work out. It's really annoying. Goals for George says, Rasmus is actually in his 3rd full season as a striker in a top team. He was at Atalanta, which have one of the best academies, which Ahmad also went through. Lookman has improved. Well, I mean, he didn't go through the academy at Atalanta. He was bought from a club in the Danish league, I believe. And he wasn't brought in to be regular part of the starting 11. He only became that because Zapata got injured, and then Zapata wasn't playing well, and they had no other choice but to start Rasmus Hojlund. And he burst onto the scene because he was fast, he was powerful, everyone loved what they saw. We didn't buy him to be our number 1 striker either. We were trying to get Harry Kane, if you remember, and we couldn't make that happen. Rasmus was supposed to be learning and developing under Ten Hag. He was another project, and it just hasn't worked out that we were able to get him some help. We got Xerxes, but Xerxes is very different. He's not going to learn from Xerxes, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't say it's his 3rd full season anymore that I would say it's Kabi Mainu's like 2nd full season or any other young player that is not really intended to be like the number 1 starter. Like he's in and around the first team, but he wasn't supposed to be, if that makes sense, because he's not the finished article yet. So I do think it's harsh to expect, Harry Kane kind of performances and consistency from him because he's very, very young. But we will see what happens. I think he has the potential to be one of the best strikers. I really liked him at Atalanta. A lot of other teams were looking at him, and I think that he'll cook in this system personally. but we have to give him time. We have to give a lot of the young players time, because there's, again, what is the thing I say about young players? The only consistent thing you're going to get from them is inconsistency. That takes time. Of course, you get some players that are amazing. I mean, but it's going to happen. Even Phil Foden, who's older, is having a shit season after being one of the best players in the league last season. It happens to everybody, and you're going to see it happen with young players more than ever. Danny B says Cast's legs are gone. His engine and his drive is gone. That's what made him at Madrid. Sweep up and give short pass off to Modric, Kroos. He was never a huge deep line passer. Yeah, but again, you kind of answered your own question there. He doesn't have a Modric or a Kroos. He doesn't have those prime players next to him. He just doesn't. He's got Rashford, Dalot, Eriksen, and that's who he's got. So he's used to playing those no-look passes because he's used to having the company of Kroos and Modric. He doesn't have that here, and he did this in his first season too. He needs to just scan. It's not that hard. Before you receive the ball, quick look over your shoulders, see what the situation is. Hold on to the ball for a second before just rushing and make a pass, and then go from there. Sports Fiction says, Danny B, no, but that's why I think the only thing we're missing now is a great squad building staff, best recruitment team. Yeah, our recruitment needs to be on point. That's kind of my point getting at to kind of wrap up final thoughts here. We need to strengthen in January. We don't have a choice. We've seen tonight the pivot requires a different profile than who we have. We've seen that we lack physicality, we lack energy, we lack ideas in the final third. We lack press-resistant midfielders in dangerous areas. We need an energetic, playmaking central midfielder like a João Neves, who is press-resistant. Bruno can't do that job. He's too soft on the ball. We were chasing shadows in our own half when Plzen had the ball. We need a number 10 or someone who can play in that more attacking, creative role, who can help us unlock these low block, hard to break down teams when they set in a 4-4-2, like Forest did, like Plzen did. We have to be able to unlock these park the bus teams. Mount showed us a little bit about the profile we need when he does those little flicks with his back to goal and whatnot. We need players who are better at that, who are better at playing the off rhythm passes, who are better at making those movements. We just looked bereft of ideas against teams when they parked the bus. Again, I thought we looked a little more creative and we had a little more energy later on, but we need more players of that standard in the squad. Sir Jim is very, very quick to make decisions when it comes to money, or when it came to Ten Hag, or when it came to Dan Ashworth. He needs to do the same with the January window. I'm not saying you go out and you get an Osimhen. I don't think that's going to happen, but we need to strengthen in some ways. And also, like I said, strengthening doesn't mean just bringing in players. It means getting rid of players who might actively be hindering our progress on the pitch and as a club by just limiting us in not being able to fit the system. Again, addition by subtraction. It could actually help us if we move some of these players on. You guys can decide who those players are on this side. Goals for George says, Rasmus will always get stick because of the price. She should not have cost more than 35-40 million. United should never do business with Atalanta, who have pulled our pants down now for 105 million plus for 2 players. I mean, yeah, the price is not his fault. I'm not going to give anybody stick for price. You guys know that. I won't give Anthony stick for price. I don't give Harry Maguire stick for price. Who was the other Atalanta player that we bought? I'm trying to think now off the top of my head. Who was it? Let me know. Oh, it was Ahmad. That's right. Sports predictions: how Jason and Omar can get the job done while they keep searching. I hope that we're working on stuff. We've signed another left back. We've been linked. We got this guy, Emmanuel Zero. We talked about him the other day, another youngster. We're looking at a lot of young players. We need to start looking at some players who are a little more experienced. Like I said, Danny agrees. What do you agree about? I like to know when I'm right about stuff. Danny V says, Nipan and Mastantuan will take the gamble. One will definitely make top quality. We need somebody who can do that. We need some players like that. Rashford can't play that role. I don't see. If you guys let me know what role you think Rashford can play in this system, let me know, because I can't see it. Danny B says, Liverpool now in for Mastantuono. If they get him, I'd be sick for a month. Jeez, how many midfielders do Liverpool want? Are they looking at him as like a future Salah replacement? They got Szoboszlai, Gakpo, plays that role. I don't understand what Liverpool are doing. Let me know. Liverpool's biggest issue is Darwin Núñez. People like to not acknowledge how poor Liverpool have been at some of their signings. Darwin Núñez is shit. Can anyone tell me where Minamino is these days? Thiago Alcantara was a bad signing because he was never fit. They signed Mamardashvili and just loaned him out when they probably should have kept him here. Who was also I just thinking about the other day that is a shit signing for Liverpool. Tsimikas, I mean, honestly, hasn't been great for them either. They signed that center back, the ginger center back, a while back, and I don't even know where he is anymore. Naby Keita was a bad signing. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, how many games did Naby Keita even play for Liverpool, and how good was he? How much did they pay for him? Liverpool, Steve, will continue to use the Philip Coutinho money excuse till the day that club dies. I guarantee you that. Sports Prediction says, I'm not watching on Sunday, guys, because we're going to make Man City look like prime Barcelona. Ugh. You just know it. We're going to do the preview, but I'm not confident at all because this is exactly the kind of situation that we're going to lose, right? Danny B says, yeah, solid replacement, I'd say. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we need someone like that. We need someone like a Cherki, someone like a Nipan, someone like a Tillman, someone who's just like a Xavi Simons, someone who's got energy and creativity in that area of the pitch. So we need, in midfield, we need energy, creativity in the pivot, and we need it in one of those 10 roles for sure. And we need somebody on the left side, and we're going to need a center back. We're going to need a lot of things. Goals for George says, the funniest thing I've seen in United is Manu running back during transitions as he's so slow and sprints like he's jogging. I actually wonder who would win a sprint between Manu and Casemiro. Yeah, the problem with Manu this year is we started the season playing him in a deeper role and kind of forcing him to sit back. You guys, if you remember early in the season, I showed you the comparison between his heat map from last year and this year, and there's like a 10 to 15 yard difference between he's basically been in his own half this season, whereas last season he was just inside the opposition half. But it's also, again, there were some numbers that came out a few weeks ago. He was like leading the league for successful dribbles, and he was also like leading the league for like interceptions or something at a certain point. So I think Ten Hag was trying to develop a more defensive, more disciplined kind of side to his game. I just think we miss out a little bit. Kind of like what I thought about Ahmad playing him in the wide position. We're missing out a little bit, but I'm not the manager, so I don't know. Bando Max says we're going to win. I like your positivity. You know, sometimes the heart wins out over the head, but we're going to see. We're going to talk about that maybe tomorrow or Saturday, depending on when I get time, because tomorrow's going to be busy. What this does for us now, though, this puts us up to 7th in the Europa League on 12 points. I told you guys. Same with the Premier League. Don't freak out yet. The points are very, very tight. I told you in the preview this could jump us up, and it did. We have 12 points. We're in 7th place. It did help us that Ajax, Frankfurt, Galatasaray, and Spurs drop points. I told you guys, Ange is just a boomerang Bielsa. That's all he is. Spursy going to Spurs. And it's about time we freaking grab max points on a week where other teams around us are dropping points. It's been a long time since we've been able to do that. So it did all kind of align for us today. 2 matches left. We play Rangers. We play Steaua Bucharest. I'd like us to qualify because like Amorim said, I'd like us to not have extra matches. We don't have the fitness. We need some time to train. We haven't really had time to train. And so that's a part of it as well. Before all that, though, we do have the big match this weekend against a struggling City side. So you still can't count them out, though. They will probably show up. They're going to be without a couple players, so I got to check back on that. But again, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back Saturday to look at that one. And I mean, another positive, I'm telling you right now, this shirt, the third shirt that we wore today is fire. I fucking love this shirt. I love this. I love this. This thing is hot. I am all about this. When this got released, I just take my money. This is from GoGoalShop. Again, check the link in the description if you guys don't want to spend an arm and a leg on jerseys, and if you want to get $5 off your order when you use my code to register at GoGoalShop. You can get these. I've got a couple of shirts. I got like 3 shirts from GoGoalShop, and they are legit. It's cost like $30. So you can go spend 130 at the club shop, or you can go spend 30. It's like buying players. You can spend 100 million on Harry Kane. You can spend 100 million on like 4 players. What are you going to do, right? Also, George says, maybe Manu looked at his paycheck and compared it with Rashford and said, why must I Sade? I mean, I think that the 2 pivot is hard because you have to do so much more as a midfielder, especially in this system as opposed to Ten Hag's system a little bit. You have to really be more of an old school midfielder and not just like a 6 or an 8 or a 10. You have to be able to do a little bit of everything. So you have to have energy. You have to have a little bit of pace about you. You have to be physical. You have to be good on the ball. You have to do a lot of things, and that's why it's not just like, oh, I want better players. We need better profile. We have a profile player that fits that requirement there. So you guys let me know what you think. That is going to do it for me. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you are new. You guys, we're on the road to 3K. We reached 2K earlier this week. Kyle Lacey, if you're catching any of these channels, man, you did win the giveaway. So get at me, United States of United at Gmail. Send me your details. I will send you the shirt, and hopefully you'll get it in time for Christmas. If you get to me, I'm going to wait till the end of next week. If I haven't heard from you by then, though, I'm going to do the giveaway again. We're going to spin the wheel again. You guys watch the spin wheel. I just like to watch the wheel spin, but in any case, thank you all for stopping by. Bandomat, Goals for George, Sport Predictions, Danny B. I know Rich was in here for United TV earlier as well. Thank you guys for getting involved and giving your thoughts in on I wouldn't say a well-deserved 3 points. It was a smash and grab job, let's be honest, but 3 points is 3 points. So thank you guys for stopping by. Enjoy your night. I might see you tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then definitely Saturday. But until then, enjoy your night, stay warm, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.